Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Today we are doing two things. We are testing out and giving our opinion on the absolute cheapest petrol version of a garden cultivator that you can get from Lowe's Hardware, as well as planting potatoes. So it's kind of a, what do you call it?
Dual purpose.
A dual purpose video.
Maybe.
We've been wanting to plant these potatoes for a couple of weeks, but it seems like every time we want to, it starts to thunderstorm. Had about 1.5 inches last night, but as you can tell, these raised beds, they drain really well. So we're going to get compost in them. Lisa's going to use her new birthday present.
Early birthday present.
Early birthday present, y'all. She'll be 28 this year,
That's
right?
Good job.
28. And so needed something, y'all, that's easier than manually forking these beds every year. I did it last year, both of us did.
We've always done them, but
it is how we've always done them. But in lieu of us getting older and circumstances beyond our control,
I'm not older.
I'm getting older. We need something that's a little bit easier, y'all. So this is what we've got. It's called a Mech Marvel, and we're going to hopefully not wear it out, but we're going to wear it out today, y'all. Thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods. Hit that like and subscribe if you hadn't, and if as always,
we appreciate you.
If you have. All right, guys, let's get into it. Y'all, the plan here is to not pick up all these fire ants in the compost. We've been battling these things, y'all. Orange oil, we have not tried that yet. Somebody mentioned it last year. The only thing we've done to it is, I believe we tried some spinosad one time. That seemed to work pretty good. They'll come back after a little bit though. Diatomaceous, which we try to limit because apparently it kills earthworms and we don't want to kill our worms in our beds. So trying to work around it the best I can for now. Stir them up anyways and get this compost in here, and Lisa's going to till it all in to all that rich garden soil.
And the last attempt was, I had read, to basically high pressure water hose and flood them out and drown them. And that got rid of a good chunk, but then I think the ones that survived moved to a different spot.
There's worms in here now, so that's a good sign. And y'all, all we basically are doing is putting a thin layer in here and we'll till it in. Because there's plenty of good, rich organic matter already in these beds. We're just adding to it with some homegrown.
Alright, if you're cranking it when it's cold, there's a primer button down here to push. But we've been running it, so
just turn that thing on.
Just turn it on.
And give it a yank. Try again. Y'all, the reason I got this for Lisa, well, I've already told you, it's easier doing it this way than it is forking these beds every year, but it's lightweight, this thing. You just saw her pick it up. We hadn't put the scale on it. I'm going to guess it's about 25 pounds. The actual specs say that it's 15. I don't think that's accurate at all. I think it's more like 25, but she didn't have any problem getting it out of the bed. Y'all, one of the reasons that we got this is so that Lisa has something lightweight to use in these garden beds. And we looked at some of the all-electric options, and anything that looked good enough to me as far as power and longevity, hopefully longevity wise, was twice the cost of this. This machine was $202, tax and shipped to us, and which was half the price of some of the other gas versions, half the price of some of the decent electric versions. But one neat thing about this are these back tires, these casters. They actually have a pin right in here where my finger's at. You pull that pin and you rotate them up, lock them back into position for operating, and you put them down so you can roll this thing around. And the specs say that this thing weighs 15.5 pounds. I haven't put a scale on it, but I think it weighs about 20 to 25 pounds. A little bit heavier, but as you saw, Lisa didn't have any trouble getting it out of the bed, and you're only about 110 pounds, so if that. So I'd say you're doing pretty good. It's very light. Two people can manage it very easily, but one person can really without any problem. Now you're gonna have to smooth it out some, because it's not going to leave it nice and flush for you. But the whole purpose is just incorporating all of that good compost that we've been building around here into this garden soil. It's nice and soft.
And that was another reason why we wanted to be able to do more than just forking it, was these beds are several years old.
Oh, these beds are...
Yeah. 7 years old, I think.
Yeah, now this bed you're working in, excuse me, I think I built it maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, it's been longer than that for this one.
Really?
Yeah. But either way, the dirt has really compacted, and this is making it nice and light and fluffy again. Even with forking it, you can only get so deep by doing that.
Y'all notice I took the rake away from Lisa. It's been said by people over time that I'm particular, like things done a certain way, and you know what? I'll just admit it. It is true. And not that Lisa was doing a fine job, but I just got to step in there and do it sometimes, y'all. I want to. I don't know. Anybody else like that? You just want it done the way you want it done? I don't think that's a bad thing. So long as
it's my garden bed, so I mean,
I don't think it's a bad quality to have, because it means that you're thorough. We're actually a whole lot alike, and so Lisa puts up with me pretty good. All right, y'all, a couple things about this Mech Marvels cultivator. It's 43 cc's, and it's 50 to 1 on your gas oil mixture, which if you're going to buy a petrol version of these and you have chainsaws and string trimmers that are 50 to 1, be careful, because not all of these little cultivators are 50 to 1. Some are 40 to 1, and if you get one of those home and start using the same gas mixture you have for everything else, it could potentially not run as good or give you trouble. So, and I think a lot of times people have done that, and you may see some bad reviews on certain ones, but if you look, a lot of times it's because the fuel mixture was wrong. But we've put maybe 10 minutes on this thing so far, so this is not like a long-term review of any kind, but it seems to be solid. It looks to be cast aluminum as far as the engine itself. Made in China, like everything else too, y'all. And man, it's plenty of plastic on it, plastic parts, but they don't seem to be flimsy. It is metal down here over the cultivator tines, and I think it's probably just as well built as some of the other brands out there. Only time will tell, but you figure we use it during gardening season, drain the fuel, keep the carb nice and clean, running non-ethanol. That's the only thing we run. And we actually run seafoam. Every time we fill our non-ethanol cans up, we go ahead and put the recommended amount of seafoam. Just keeps things clean, y'all. Don't run that ethanol junk because it'll mess these carbs up in a hurry. We use most of the time the square foot gardening method in these deep raised beds, and these raised beds are 19 inches deep. That's how much soil's in them. So it's not like your traditional little shallow raised beds, but you got to put some furrows in to put your potato seed in. And so what I do is I take the back of my hoe or the corner of my hoe and I just drag it down the loose soil, creating a furrow like so. And you may have to go back and hit a spot if it ain't quite deep enough, but that's all you do.
For this bed, I'm doing our Yukon Golds. They are, Matthew's already went through and cut them. They've healed over well, and you just want to stick them in there with the eyes up.
How deep are you planting them, you reckon? Just a few inches?
You just want to make sure that the eyes are covered really good. And then we'll start adding dirt to them as they start coming up. That one really could have been cut more than one time. I think my cutter didn't do a great job on that one.
I can cut it again now.
Yeah.
Just a chance of it rotting if I do, but
I'm gonna lay that one to the side.
Probably won't. Because these beds drain so well.
Yeah. And let's see if you go back behind me and...
I'm not going behind you. Learned my lesson.
No, you did.
No, I didn't.
And hopefully we can fit all of the Yukon Gold in this bed, and then we have some russets to go in the other bed. And if we need to, we will work up this bed as well. But we like the Yukon Gold for canning, and the russets, we're gonna figure out a way here in the south to, and we don't have a basement to use for a root cellar, so we're gonna figure out a way to try to keep us russets out and last a little longer, because russets just don't can well.
I can tell you that excavator over there is going to be digging a hole. What's
There's going to be
happen.
a big, massive, yeah. And this should yield really good, because we normally plant our potatoes in the skinnier beds, and we get enough out of them canned to put up, plus fresh eating usually when we dig them all up, to last us for a year. We just want excess, so more than what we normally do. We make them last a year, but it yields well, but this bigger bed should do much better. to go a little bit closer than what I've got on here.
Y'all, these Yukon Gold seed potatoes came from our local co-op, Southern States. We have gotten them from Hoss Tool in the past, but I'll be straight up with you. It's a whole lot cheaper to get them from your local co-op. We bought these probably, what, a month and a half ago? Yeah, and we just left them inside brown paper bag, loosely stored in a brown paper bag in a dark, cool place of our home. And about 2 weeks ago, I cut in between the eyes. We put them into cardboard boxes, allowed them to heal over. And I actually just cut one more that, you know, Lisa had pulled out. It had developed another eye, so it'll probably be fine as well as these beds drain. You get better success with potatoes if you let them heal over before you plant them, because sometimes they'll just rot and turn to mush.
And you just want to go through and cover them with a few inches of dirt. You want to make sure they're not going to get, they're not going to pop back up and be exposed to the sunlight. And the Yukon Gold, we normally plant our potatoes about 2 weeks before now, but the weather has not allowed. But the Yukon Gold days to maturity is around 85, so that puts them being about ready to harvest before it really, if we have a normal year, before it really gets into the consistent 90s, because once you get into the 90s consistently, then your plants are going to start dying back and you're not going to have as good of a yield. And like Matthew said, our Yukon Golds came from our co-op. Our russets actually just came from a bag of store-bought russet potatoes that we just let go ahead and start forming eyes on. And we've had great success with just using store-boughts for our russets.
So long as they'll make eyes.
Yeah, so long as they'll make eyes, yeah. And by store-bought, yeah, obviously grocery store, but because they're all store-bought. But
Food line. And these we're planting a little bit further apart because we have less of them, but we want to fill up a full 32 square foot bed. I'll just give them a little more room to grow. Y'all, will actually come back in here once the leaves get up a little bit. They start coming up and forming leaves, and we'll use more compost and just increase the soil depth and keep the potatoes deeper in the ground at that point.
I told y'all he would try to take charge, because now he's going, well, did you cover those potatoes with enough dirt? Because,
It's in my nature, y'all. It's in my nature just to grab the bull by the horns and get things done. Lisa does the same, y'all. Don't let her fool you. Guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us as we... What's your opinion of this new tiller?
I really like it. Cultivator.
Cultivator?
Yeah, Cultivator.
What about it do you like?
I mean, it's lightweight and easy enough for me to maneuver and hold on to.
Yeah.
And get it up in the beds and back down.
Did it feel like it had enough power?
Yeah, it definitely did.
Good, because y'all looked at some of the electric stuff. It was in the price range I was looking for, that 200 and under, and we'd have been out here for a month with some of those tools. Would have been better just to fork it, but this is a whole lot better, y'all. It's saving our heart. My heart. It's saving my heart.
Yeah.
And Lisa got her a new toy to play with, and the potatoes are planted.
I finally got a toy that's mine, so let's...
It's all yours. Well, the log splitter, you run it too.
Well, the log splitter, yeah, that's true.
So
But
I got my toy, she's got hers, and now I told her it was a race car last night. Said it's orange like everything else around here too. I like that. Guys, y'all have a good day, a great week. Hopefully y'all are planting some potatoes. If you're not, get on it, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to get any cheaper in the grocery store. Y'all have a good day, a great week. We'll see you on the next one, Lord willing. And the creek don't rise
too high.
That's right.
With all this rain, let's hope it doesn't. But.
Let's hope not, y'all. We'll see you.